Hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar. I'm so excited to present. My name is Rhythm and I'm at the marketing team here at Productive Learning. Today we have a treat for all of you. We have the webinar, The Three Keys to Transformation with our very own Lisa Reed. A few housekeeping items to consider before we get into learning about the topic. The webinar is approximately 45 minutes long. You can post questions at any given time using the chat window, and Andy and I are here to help answer those questions, and Lisa might also address those questions at the end of the webinar. If you would like to walk through our process with us today, we would recommend you to be in a quiet place and have a pen and paper readily available. And if you cannot walk the process with us today, that's okay. We will send you the recording next week. We're excited to share the three keys with you today, and we are ready to get Lisa on board. And all I would like to say is if you want more questions about what we do, what Productive Learning does, visit our website at productivelearning.com. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Lisa.
Thank you, Rhythm. I'm so excited to see all the people on the call today. We are very, very excited to have our very first live webinar, The Three Keys to Transformation, bringing to you live here. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So how to get the most out of our time together really is to come from a place of curiosity about yourself. And I always recommend that for any of our workshops, but really coming from a place of, what else can I learn about myself? What can I discover? And I think that will really help you get the most out of it. Also, like Rhythm had mentioned, if you can, be in a quiet place with some limited distractions, of course, and be prepared to take some notes. And then if you are so inclined, we welcome you to share the recording when you do get that next week. Feel free to share this recording with someone that you think would really enjoy it. You're welcome to do that. It is free to whoever you'd like to share it to. On who is this training for? Well, really, I find that a lot of times when we talk to our clients, and I can certainly relate to this, a lot of times we are so busy doing so many different things. We just feel rushed. We feel stressed. We're constantly busy. You might have, I've heard this phrase before, I'm having trouble turning off my thoughts. Like, I have so many thoughts. I must have so many thoughts going on in my mind, maybe having a hard time going to sleep at night, or when you wake up in the morning, you're realizing your mind is already racing. So this is a great opportunity to really give yourself that gift of let me see, where is that coming from? How can I have a different experience of my life? Also, you may just be a person who has a strong desire to grow and develop. No matter where you are in your life, you're still like, gosh, how can I continue to enhance the version that I am of myself? I know I definitely feel this way, and which is why I love the work at Productive Learning. You may also be feeling disconnected to a bigger purpose. A lot of times I talk to people, actually just talked to someone earlier today about that, like all the boxes are checked, everything should be like this is what I wanted, but for some reason I'm feeling like my heart isn't in it, or I'm just not feeling fulfilled, or there's just something still missing. We do get that comment quite a lot, and it's easy to get distracted and pulled off our purpose, or not even know what our purpose is. So that conversation is certainly one we help a lot of people with, and help them to see their bigger purpose. And you'll actually hear a couple stories about that later today. Our promise to you, we're going to share what's worked for thousands of people who've gone through our workshops. If you're not familiar with Productive Learning, I'll share a little bit about that in a moment, but we've really helped many, many, many people with these types of concerns, and what's my purpose, or how can I be a better version of myself? How can I, have this experience of my life that's really, really extraordinary? So we decided, well, what are the three keys that really pull it all together? And that's what we wanted to share with everybody today. We also have something special to share with you at the end, so make sure and stick around so you can hear what that is. That's going to be great. And here is our team at Productive Learning. We have been in the transformational business for over 25 years. We were founded in 1992, and I am there on the right and Andy's on the left. Rhythm wasn't in this picture. We're going to have to redo our pictures. Terry Rippey, come and do our pictures again. And we're a small and very mighty team. I would say if you've experienced productive learning, you know that one of our big overall mission, we really believe that everybody has the ability to create and live the life they truly want. And we also know that that ability desperately needs to be nurtured. I don't want to say desperately, but it needs to be nurtured and developed. And so all of our work is really around helping our participants nurture and develop that ability. And it's very powerful. So what we're going to talk about today is starting that process. Like, how can we continue to nurture and develop your ability to have the life you truly want? And we have some great questions for you today to help with that process. Here I am. Oh, here's a little bit all about me. I do have a bachelor's and a master's in speech communication. I was an instructor at Cal State Fullerton back in the 90s. I taught interpersonal communication, and largely my career has been in executive leadership with universities and colleges, also business ownership myself, and I'm an author, a trainer at Productive Learning, and a speaker. One of the things I do for productive learning on a pretty regular basis is I go out and speak to different groups in Southern California, really giving people an opportunity to understand, what is this work? What is personal development? How would it help me if I studied my thoughts? And what kind of results would I be able to see if I actually started to understand those unconscious beliefs a little bit more? So we're going to dive into some of that today. And I will also share with you how I got started with productive learning, like why do I think this stuff is so amazing. And I'll tell you, to be very, very honest, several years ago I was in debt. I had different business and real estate things that didn't quite go the way I thought they were going to go. And I was also going through a divorce when I first started with productive learning as a client. And what I found was it was really powerful to remember. At the beginning I said be curious. I was very curious about myself. I thought, how is it that I have these degrees and I've had all this experience and I would consider myself very intelligent, self-confident, etc. How is it that I got to this spot? These results were not satisfying to me, obviously, as you can see. Oh, I did not want to end up divorced. I didn't want to have this type of debt. So what was I missing within myself? What did I miss? Some red flags? And I actually took this workshop we offer called Beyond Reasons, and it was magical to me because it really started to help challenge the way I had always thought that wasn't serving me in certain aspects of my life. Of course, it does serve me in other aspects. But as I went through this, within 2 years of literally implementing the 3 keys we're going to share today, I was financially in the black. That's a pretty short amount of time and a big result. I will also share with you that I also met my soulmate. I met him a few months after I took Beyond Reasons I can't guarantee those kind of results for you. I don't know if your soulmate's out there right after you take Beyond Reasons. Hopefully you've already met your soulmate. But we did get married, and it's a really different relationship because guess what? I'm different. I'm different on the inside. And I think that's what's really, really powerful. So I can definitely relate to feeling really busy. There were many years I felt anxious and overwhelmed. I wasn't really even taking care of my own basic needs because I was so busy. Like, oh, I don't have time to do that. It was my favorite thing to say. And wasn't connected to what my needs were even. Like, it was an uncomfortable question for me to answer. I don't know if that's for everyone here on the call. Probably not, but that was just my own particular flavor that I brought to it. And so as I started to uncover what were those unconscious beliefs that I had that weren't serving me, I was really able to transform. And now, like I mentioned earlier, I speak to thousands of people sharing these principles. It's really awesome. So not only do I personally have a lot of evidence in my life that when you start to shift your unconscious beliefs and question them, especially when they're not serving you, you can have significant results. These are just a couple of the results I wanted to share with you, but the gift of being around our community is hearing about the results they get too. And we're going to share a couple of those with you today. So you feel free to chime in on the chat box if you've had some amazing results. We want to hear about that too. Okay, I want to get into our training today in the 3 keys to transformation. So we are going to dive in, and I want to share the very first key with you, and that is understanding one's self. What does that mean? Well, at Productive Learning, what that means to us is really to understand how your experiences from your life, let's say your past, have shaped the way you think and feel about yourself, others, and life in general. So it's like, simply said, our past experiences shape how we then now view ourselves, other people, and like how life works, right? We come up with these different ways in which life works. So how does this all work exactly? Well, what happens is that we are hardwired to learn. Once we come into this world and we're born, and we're hardwired to learn. We start, if you can imagine, like we're starting to videotape what's going on in our world. We're mimicking, we're learning, because we need to do that in order to survive. That's how we will survive in the world. And then we start to learn our language, and then we learn from other people, and all of a sudden, we're starting to form opinions from those early experiences. Oh, if I do this, then this happens. If I cry, my mom will pay attention to me and get me, or my dad will get me the food that I need or take care of my basic needs. So that's a learning process. So we're starting to learn as we go. How do I walk? How do I talk? What's okay? What's not okay? What's safe? What's not safe? And then what happens is that our opinions then turn into facts. That's just how part of this works. And so the challenge with that is that we actually react so automatically. We don't, now that we're adults here, we don't have an opportunity to inject our higher level thinking, because we're on autopilot. We're automatically thinking. And what we're wanting to do, especially in this webinar and just in the work in general that we do at Productive Learning, is to slow down that process so that we can catch our automatic thinking when it's not serving us. It's like, how can I start to question that? How can I start to bring that automatic thinking when I have a fact that when I have an opinion that seems like a fact? How can I start to question that and get curious about that? And the reasons why you'd want to start doing that is because those earlier experiences formulated your beliefs, and they've gotten you where you are today. So when you think about what car you drive, what relationships you have, what's in your bank account, what you're doing for a living, how your health is, what's your spiritual practice, like all these things that kind of encompass our life. Well, the earlier experiences you have gotten you where you are based on the beliefs that you have now. And without questioning those early beliefs, your mindset does not change. So in order to change the mindset, then of course we want to start to question. Yes? With me so far? Cool. So how this works is with the understanding, like the understanding of our past experiences, you start to actually tap into this potential to recognize your reactions as motivated more by history than by any present reality. So we start to be able to inject that higher level thinking and slow the process down. Instead of automatically reacting, we're like, oh, I'm actually reacting based on something from my past. I get that. I know myself enough now. I get it. Okay, would I like to make a different choice? Can I make a different choice here? And that could be just a split second, but that split second of slowing it down can be very, very powerful. Because without the understanding, what happens, it's nearly impossible for us to refrain from reacting according to how we're feeling. We're just like, boom, this is how it is. I'm going to react. And we don't question, we don't bring in that higher level thinking. So when we have results in our life that are less than ideal, we're like, well, it's that person's fault, or it's this outside, all these external things. We don't have an opportunity to really question within, like, wow, how do I see the world? What type of experiences or results am I expecting based on my past experiences that have then helped to enhance and create the results I have that I don't want? So kind of a little bit of a confusing thing, isn't it? It's like, So that's why we want to start bringing this up now. So in order to start understanding oneself, obviously it's a it's a big thing. You've lived a while. You've had a lot of experiences, but I want to give you some tidbits on how we can start to understand yourself. There we go. So I want you to consider these questions, and we're going to actually take a poll really quickly. I want you to think of an area of your life that is less than ideal, or perhaps an area of your life that you would like to see some improvement on. You're going to see a poll come up, and we're going to give some general choices here. It might be in relationships, might be in finance or business, maybe health, fulfillment, or something completely different. So just go ahead and put in there what is your area of focus today. And when you find this area and you select your area, we're going to actually go through a couple of different scenarios throughout the webinar. So use that same area as we go through. And then, of course, when you go back and listen to this webinar, you're probably going to listen to it like 50 more times. I'm just kidding. You can if you want to. But you can then inject different areas of your life. So this will work for other things too. But for this one, we're going to say it looks like finance is coming up number 1, relationships number 2, fulfillment, and then health. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go through these questions, and then I will go through them again with my own examples, so that'll give you some time to be thinking. All right, so you've got this area of your life that's less than ideal, and then, there we go. I want you to consider, what experience did you have growing up that you still find yourself saying you don't like? For example, if these are areas that, remember, we're talking about the past, some past experiences, and we already know, we've been learning from a very young age, and now we know, wow, I had a fixed belief that was created at that point. What experience did you have growing up that you still find yourself saying you didn't like? Something undesirable happened or occurred that made you have a belief about something. And I'll give my own example in a moment. All right, so next question. What setbacks or failures have you had in this area? So if you're working on finance, it's like, what setbacks or failures have you had in that area of your life that you can think, oh yeah, there were some times where, I didn't do so well there, or I made a bad decision and it didn't turn out well. Those are good examples. Just a couple. And then finally, what problematic patterns did you learn from your environment that relate to this area? Here's where we're starting to put the picture together. Well, it would make sense because, here's what I learned from my, growing up in my household, or a certain parent or relative that was very influential to you, perhaps something in your culture or religion, or messages that you may have heard, or on the playground from other kids. Like, we have all these different, we're learning the whole time. We're just continually learning. So what did we pick up along the way? Whether it was intentional or not, we started to pick up things. Oh, this is what happens. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to go through these 3, and I'll answer them for myself with an example. So the area that I'm selecting for this example is my health. And specifically, health is obviously a large topic. Specifically, weight loss. Like, oh, I would like to lose more weight. So in an area that's less than ideal, that would be the area that I'm going to select. So for me, I would say, well, what experiences did I have growing up that I still find myself saying I didn't like? I have a particular memory of, in the nurse's office, every year you would get weighed. They'd weigh all the kids and you'd go through and get your, regular physical, I suppose. But it was at school. So maybe 2 or 3 girls would go in the nurse's office together, and then we'd get weighed, and then we'd go back to class. And I recall the nurse saying to me, I don't remember how many times, but I do remember it a couple of different, years happened. She'd say, oh, you're really big boned. Like, oh, honey, that's okay, you're really big boned. Like, she was trying to make me not feel bad about, I think, how much I weighed compared to the other girls. So it was a little bit more. And I remember it didn't really feel like a compliment necessarily. It was like, well, I guess I'm big boned. Is that a bad thing? Or like, I was very muscular, and I don't consider myself fat, but I wasn't super skinny. And I remember at that time thinking, I'm just never going to be super skinny. I'm just not a skinny person. So that would be where that opinion, even as I say it now, feels like a fact. It's like, but it's an opinion, right? Because we don't necessarily know if that's true. But you can see how these things can start to grip us and feel like a fact. What setbacks or failures have I had in the area of weight loss? There's been times that I've lost weight and gained weight, and times that there's, so definitely some setbacks and failures there. And problematic patterns. What problematic patterns did I learn from my environment? Well, one thing would be eating really quickly. I love my dad so much, but he eats super fast. And he was also very, very athletic. And so had a very, high metabolism and was always on the run, doing stuff, even would shoot the javelin, up until the last year of his life. He was very, very active. And so, but he could eat really quickly and metabolize his food. But I would learn, and eat really, gotta have stuff to do, doing things. So that would definitely be a pattern that I picked up. Certainly not intentionally. It's not saying, Lisa, you should eat your food really quickly, but something I picked up along the way. So that would be an example of a problematic pattern. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. I want to share with you a story, actually, about one of our clients who's been with us for a while. And her topic, if she was going to choose one, would have been, for this example, relationships, right? Wow, loving relationship after 18 years of being single. This is Kit McNee, and I'm so excited to say, after she started realizing she was studying her unconscious beliefs, her conscious beliefs, and really getting an clarity on the past experiences she had that she was then bringing into the present. Now she's in a loving relationship. How cool is that? That's amazing. Like, I'm so excited for her. So if you're one of those people who's like, gosh, I really want to have a relationship, but I'm not really sure why I don't have one yet. When we start studying our past experiences, you think about past setbacks, past failures, you probably had a couple, and that's protecting you from moving forward. So I just wanted to share that with Kit. She is a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. She's an amazing woman, and she wanted to share her quick story with you. So thank you, Kit. We are going to continue on to our next key, the key to transformation. So we have understanding oneself, and then what is the second key? What could it be? Well, let's find out. It is developing awareness. What does that mean? Well, at Productive Learning, that means to us, it's that ability to identify what's currently going on that can pull you away from your ideal. Think habits, obstacles, distractions, seductions, things that sound like a really good idea, but you kind of know it's not a good idea, and you shouldn't do it, or like not shouldn't, but like it's not going to it's not going to help you get to your ideal, but you can't help it, you do it anyway. So we want to actually develop our awareness around ourselves so we can see, like, what would pull me off? What would pull me off of that ideal? And what we're doing is, like, now we're moving into the present. If you think of the understanding oneself is in the past, now we're like, how do I develop my present? Well, the challenge, of course, is that approximately 89% of our thinking is unconscious. So how do we be more aware if most of the time we're not consciously aware of what's in our own mind anyway? That's definitely the challenge, right? And I will even give you an example of this. Do you know how many thoughts we have per second? Literally, how many thoughts? And I think we have another poll coming up here. Rhythm, don't we have a poll coming up? How many thoughts do we have per second? We have some choices here. So everybody vote. We have 1,000, 15, 500, or 30. So let's see. What do we think as a group? Get your votes in now. How many thoughts do we have per second? Oh, they are coming through. Rhythm is scrambling. What is it going to be? Should I tell them? Okay, I will tell you. We had votes over. A lot of people thought we had 1,000. We have some for 30, for 500, and some for 15. So really, so I'm glad we're doing this workshop, because there's a big variety of answers. We actually have about 30 thoughts a second. So we have, yep, there we go, 30 thoughts a second. And I'll give you an example of that. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. We all just had 90 thoughts. Now, how many of those did you catch? We're not going to do another poll, but I want you to answer that to yourself. Like, I don't know. I maybe 0, maybe 2, 1, but certainly not 90, right? So there's that evidence. Gosh, there is a lot going on in our unconscious that we're not aware of. So it's a no wonder that sometimes we have a goal, we have something out there that we really say we want. Oh, I really want this. I definitely want it. I've said I wanted it. And then we're just stunned. Wow, how did I sabotage, or how did I go in completely the opposite direction? Well, it's because there's a lot of stuff going on that we're not aware of too. So this whole idea is like, how do I learn enough about myself? How can I continue to explore and learn about my past, but also learn about what's going on now that could pull me off track, because that happens all the time. Honestly, 95 to 99% of our behavior is driven by our unconscious thinking. So yeah, most of the time we don't know what we're doing, and we don't know why. If I said, well, tell me what you don't know about yourself, I have a hard time answering that question. What we want to do, well, you don't need to know all of your unconscious thoughts. Trust me, you don't need to know all those. But we certainly want to narrow down, just like what you're choosing your area of focus for this call. If there's something that's less than ideal for you, or a result you'd like to shift or change or grow, then yes, let's definitely look into those unconscious thoughts so that we can start to shift those. Once they're brought up to the consciousness, now we can start to move the needle, right? If it's just left in the unconscious, we're not aware of it. So how do we actually solve that? What I was just saying, we want to illuminate the unconscious beliefs that you have that are not serving you, so that then you can make a better decision, right? How we do that at Productive Learning largely is through experiential learning. And we do that, with live groups of people. Because learning is best done with others, not in isolation. When we're just reading a book on our own or listening to something on our own without that other interaction, we are still working with just our own thinking. So it's very, very helpful to bring in outside perspectives so that we can start to get a mirror back. Oh, this is what I'm putting out into the world. It's very, very powerful. So in terms of developing your own awareness, I want you to consider these questions. I want you to think of a time, again, back to the area that you were focusing on. I want you to think of a time when you were emotionally triggered. Could be, what would that mean? That would mean like a time where you're like, oh, I have this goal, I have this result that I want, this desired outcome, but ooh, I'm getting tempted by something. I'm getting tempted, and I know this probably isn't the road I should go down, but I really want to. And that would be an example of emotionally triggered, or maybe just upset about something and having a hard time making a higher thinking decision. So I want you to think about that time, and I want you to, can you articulate what you felt? Like emotionally, mad, sad, glad, afraid? Were you, could it be something physically that you were feeling, tense or really tired, something along those lines? And then I also want you to consider what stories or thoughts were going on in your head at that moment. And again, I'm going to share my own example after I go through the questions so that you can get an idea of an example. Also, what habitual behaviors were taking you off your ideal? If you could videotape yourself, if someone was videotaping you, what would you see that you did, or what actions did you take or not take? When I consider the example I shared about weight loss, well, when I think of a time when I'm emotionally triggered, I'll give you a general example, is when I'm really, really hungry. Okay, so when I'm really, really hungry, I know myself enough to know that I'm not going to be equipped to make the best decisions in terms of losing weight, if that's my ideal result. So how can I articulate? Can I articulate how I feel in those moments? Yes, I'm extremely impatient. I'm crabby. I'm a little irritated. Well, I'm probably a lot irritated when I'm hungry. And so it's kind of this like irritation, It's an anxiety about like when am I going to eat, which then bleeds into the story section, right? The stories and the thoughts. The thoughts would be like, oh my gosh, if I don't eat right now, I am going to lose it, and I am not happy right now. Why aren't they hurrying? Why is this taking so long? Like very not my higher. That's not higher level thinking, right? What habitual behaviors were taking you off our ideal? Well, if I get distracted from my goal, like it's not in front of me, or maybe I don't plan ahead, like thinking I won't maybe plan a meal or have a protein bar or have something in hand to help limit that really starving feeling. So those would be habitual behaviors. And then what would I do that's the things I'm not doing. And then what do I want to do when I'm really, really hungry? I want to go to fast food. I want a burger and fries really quickly. I know what I'm going to get. I know it's going to make me feel better. And then, of course, not in line with my ideal of losing that weight, right? So that's what I mean about like, that's a seduction. That's a distraction. That's an obstacle that can catch me in the moment. All right, so I want to share with you another story. This is about one of our clients who has had success as in growth in business and relationships as he starts to become more aware and has become more aware of his present moment. And that's Darren Triolo. He's with the Triolo Realty Group with Keller Williams. Darren went from 16 million in production to 40 million in production as he's continued to understand his past experiences, how they come up in the present, what are his diversions, what are his seductions that take him off track. And he loves what he does, and he also has found to balance the work that he does and also puts a lot of value into the relationships he has with his daughters and his wife. Like, how can I have both of those things? How can I have success in business and success in my family, my deep love relationships? That's something he held very, very true to himself. So why you need both understanding and awareness? Well, without awareness, so here's the trick. It's like without awareness, we may know ourselves like, oh, I know about that past experience. Yes, yes, yes. I know I have these past experiences and beliefs that aren't helping me right now. But without the awareness, we're not able to shift the dysfunctional reaction in real time. Remember, we're on autopilot. We're thinking so quickly, so intensely that we just react based on our feelings. So without having that development of really understanding, like, how do I react? What gets in my way? Then it's not a complete picture yet. It's not a complete picture. And of course, we still have another key. So what's our third key? Our third key is having a compelling vision. So if you think about the understanding oneself as our past, developing awareness as our present, and having a compelling vision as our future. Those three keys together are what help to create transformation. Not just one at a time or one on its own, or it's all three of them throughout, and it's an ebb and flow. For us at Productive Learning, what that means is having a consciously defined future state of being, inspiring and fueled with emotion, very important. How all this works together? Well, if you have that understanding of yourself and you develop your awareness, then what happens is you want to be able to arrest that habitually problematic behaviors, thoughts, and feelings so that you then, we're getting deep here, so that you can mindfully replace it with something that's more consistent with your ideal self and the life you want to live. Like what's my higher purpose? What's my vision? Exactly. What's our vision? So the challenge is, of course, without developing the understanding and awareness, you won't be able to employ that higher conscious thinking. Your mind needs a new direction, or else it just goes right back to what's familiar. Well, it's too hard to diet or exercise. I'm just going to go back to that hamburger and fries, right? It's like, wow, in order to order something different, and I'm talking just health here, obviously you can see there's so many different ways this can go. But to change, we need to be connected to that higher vision, that compelling vision. Otherwise, we're just going to go back to what we already know. So in terms of creating your compelling vision, I want you to consider these questions. And when you answer this, my vision for my life is, you can put in the area of focus that you've used for this workshop today. my vision for my weight loss is, my vision for my finances is, or my vision for my relationship status is, or so forth and so on. And you can just, a couple sentences. Obviously, you could write about this for a while. We have whole workshops based on our vision and core values and mission. So we know this is a big question. So I'm just saying, just a short couple of sentences. What would be your vision? And then you'll want to fill in, what would your vision look like? Give it some, remember, it's compelling. What would you be wearing? What would you see if you looked in the mirror? Who would you be around you? What environment would you be in? So really giving it some color, give it some depth. What would you see? What would you be involved in? What would your vision feel like? What feelings would come up? Wow, imagine this already happened. You have this vision, and you feel what? You feel excited, fulfilled, safe, secure, happy, joyous, free. What would those feelings be like for you? What would you be doing? If you could, we could videotape you. What would we see you doing? This vision has come to fruition, and you are doing what? And of course, what about your vision inspires you? And then I'll go through and answer these questions for my example. So for me, my vision for my life is a certain size that I'd like to be, a certain sustainable, healthy way in which I eat and exercise and treat my body, and I feel, I'll go to looks. I'll go to, what would that look like? Sorry. I was going to go feelings, but I'll go in order. Okay, so what would my vision look like? If I looked in the mirror, I would feel confident in this I would see a new size in my closet. I would go be shopping. Of course, that would be really fun. I would go shopping for some new clothes in this size that I want to be. And it would be this, and I would feel this way. I would feel excited. I feel proud. I feel accomplished. I feel light. And here's what I would be doing. I see myself exercising regularly, and I eat healthy foods that nourish me, and I treat my body very well and with care and love and respect. And what about my vision inspires me? I always, two things absolutely come to mind: that I am a role model for my daughter to have a healthy lifestyle and a healthy way in which to treat her body. And also I inspire those that I go and speak to, and I can relate to people who have gone through the similar challenge and who are wanting to go through a similar experience and shift their results. And if I'm successful in that area, and when I'm successful in that area, then that inspires them to make a positive change in their life. Very exciting to me. And I will give an update here. Over this past year, this has been something that I wanted to shift in my life, and I have gone down 2 sizes. I do eat differently now. I do feel lighter now. I feel excited. I get, even the picture that we had at the beginning of this webinar was in January, and I do look different now. So it's very exciting to me, and it is inspiring. So I just wanted to share that little update with all of you. I also want to share another story with one of our clients. This is a client of ours who I just adore, and she had a lot of changes. Now, this person has an extraordinary gift of having a compelling vision. And this person is Jenna McCarty. She took a picture, I think, right across the street from our Southern California location. There she is on Capistrano Beach there in Doheny. And Jenna is the founder of the Schulman Therapy Office. And as she started to create her vision, again, this was over a little bit of time here, she had visions of what she wanted for her home, her lifestyle, but wasn't sure how it was going to get there. So maybe you can relate to that, like, I have this dream, I have this vision, but I'm not really sure how that's going to happen or what I'm going to do to get there. Well, throughout her work with productive learning, she actually completely shifted careers, was open to a completely new type of career, which ended up being Schulman Therapy, started her own business, now has other therapists underneath her, like helping her business, which is amazing. And she and her husband have their first home. It's like their dream home. And she has this beautiful relationship with herself now that comes through in her engagement with other people. It's just absolutely stunning. I love hearing about what Jenna's dreams are. She's an amazing, amazing woman. And so we're going to go ahead and move forward. Again, as a review, your 3 keys to transformation: understanding oneself, developing awareness, and having that compelling vision. Now, when you master these 3 keys, you will enable yourself to reach your potential and create the life you've truly wanted. But what's the key to making it all work? How do I actually do all of this? Well, of course, nothing changes without growth. We do need to change. You need to change your unconscious beliefs, that the ones that are not serving your higher purpose or that new ideal that you have. We want to uncover what is going on in that unconscious mind that's actually pulling you in the opposite direction. So you actually have a choice, which is amazing, right? Yes, I have a choice. Cool. Well, one of the choices is, of course, you could stay in the fixed beliefs that you currently have. And, just like that boat, just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to stay here. I know it's safe. I'm not going to move. I'm going to be right here. Of course, you also probably want to really shift a little bit, right? It's like, what if I was to put my stake in the ground and take radical responsibility for my behavior and development? That sounds pretty cool. That is a great option, of course. It's like, well, what could I do to change? How would I do that? There is a way to transform your thinking, and this is something we see all the time. This is the world in which we live in. This is the conversations we get to have, and we want to show you how you can do that too. And what we've learned at Productive Learning over 25 years in teaching thousands of people is that experiential workshops are significant to your transformation, because what happens is that you connect where your past is affecting your present. You start to develop those awareness muscles, like, gosh, I wish that was the actual muscle in your body that I could point to, but that takes time and consistency, structure and support. It is amazing though, once we start to develop those awareness muscles, how much we can catch ourselves. And really cultivating our vision, giving ourselves that time to think, what am I dreaming about? What do I really want? Why is that important to me? Those are amazing questions to be asking ourselves. This is definitely for you if you are a person who's really committed to changing your current situation. At one point we get to this point where, like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to hear, this is definitely true for me. I don't want to hear myself complain about that anymore. I am doing something to actually change my situation. It's also for people who are really serious about moving beyond your reasons for why things are the way they are. You're also a person who keeps your commitments, and you're willing to invest in yourself. This is definitely for you if you are in any of those situations. We want to invite you to actually get started on this path to real transformation right now. You are invited to our Beyond Reasons workshop. I want to give you some information about that and actually get to the root cause of your less than ideal results. Like, what is the root? Instead of covering it up, like, what is the root? How can I understand myself more so that I have less than, so that I can have more of what I want? And we want to actually move past our problematic thinking. And of course, create these new beliefs that serve what we ideally want, right? So in how to do that, it's very, very simple. You go to getbeyondyourreasons.com, and that from there you can actually begin your life transforming journey. Just claim your seat. It's very simple. You select your location. We have Orange County, which is in Southern California. We are in between San Diego and Los Angeles, or in San Francisco, which is located in San Francisco, which is Northern California. And you just select your date. We have different weekends available for you. They are on Saturdays and Sundays. They are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. No matter which location and no matter which weekend, that is the time frame for you. And I believe we have something special there for you if you go to getbeyondyourreasons.com. you know what? I'm so glad I put this slide in here because I almost forgot. We have a gift for you. We're going to be sending you the 3 Keys to Transformation workbook, and that will include the questions that we had posed for you today, so that you have an opportunity to print those out, or type them up, or write down your answers, however you'd like to do that. This is our gift to you. You may be wondering if Beyond Reasons is a good idea if you are in a relationship that you'd like more intimacy in or closeness, or perhaps you aren't in a relationship and want to be in one. Absolutely, this is a great place for you to uncover what's been going on, to create your current reality, and then how could we move beyond that so that you have a new one. It may not even be an intimate relationship. A lot of times we find that people have challenges with maybe a sibling or a family member that's less than ideal, and it's someone that they love and they're going to keep seeing them over and over again, but it would be a lot easier if that other person would change, right? But that is not in our hands necessarily. So what we want to do is help you have a better experience of that relationship. You may be in a situation where you're largely in sales, or you own your own business and you're wondering, how do I increase my profitability or my financial situation? And then, of course, you also have a balance of your family in there too. How do I balance those two? So if that's something that you're looking for or clarity on, absolutely Beyond Reasons is a great place for you. You may be considering switching careers, or wondering about how you can make better decisions in your life that really serve and honor yourself. Then absolutely Beyond Reasons is a great place for you. Here again is the website for you, called getbeyondyourreasons.com. And I think we are done. Yes, and I think I can close it out because we are done with our talk today. We did 3 Keys to Transformation. We are so grateful for you being on this call with us today, and we look forward to creating more webinars for you to share more of this knowledge so you can join us in the future. Meanwhile, make it an extraordinary day, and hopefully we will be seeing you very soon.
Thank you all for coming today. We had an exciting time. We hope you learned a lot. If you would like to send us questions or comments about how the webinar went and how we can improve our process, please email us at webinar@productivelearning.com. Don't worry, we will send you all the information you need to connect with us, get the recording and the workbook. We hope that you continue asking these questions and get in conversation with us. Have an extraordinary day. Goodbye.